Captain Jake Morrison walked slowly across the bridge of the UES Defiant. The massive starship cut through the darkness of space like a knife through black water. For 3 weeks now, they had been patrolling the outer edge of human territory. It was quiet work, but someone had to do it. The bridge hummed with the soft sounds of computers and life support systems. Jake liked the night shift. There were fewer people around, and he could think better. He stopped at the large window that showed the stars ahead. Millions of tiny lights stretched out before them, each one possibly hiding new worlds and new life. Jake was 42 years old and had been in space for half his life. He had short brown hair that was starting to show gray at the sides. His uniform was neat and clean, but his face showed the lines of someone who had seen both wonder and danger among the stars. Behind him, Communications Officer Lisa Grant sat at her station. She was young, maybe 25, with blonde hair pulled, back in a tight ponytail. Lisa had joined the crew 6 months ago, fresh from the academy. She was good at her job and never complained about the long, boring hours of listening to empty space. Lisa suddenly sat up straight in her chair. Her hands moved quickly over her control panel. The soft beeping sounds from her station changed to something more urgent. "Captain," Lisa said, her voice cutting through the quiet bridge. "I'm getting something on the emergency frequency." Jake turned around and walked over to her station. "What kind of something?" "It's a distress signal, sir, but it's not coming from any of our ships." Lisa's fingers danced over her controls as she tried to clean up the signal. "The language is unknown. The computer is trying to translate it now." The bridge grew quiet. Even the few other crew members on duty stopped what they were doing to listen. First contact with alien life was something every human had dreamed about since they first reached the stars. But no one expected it to happen like this. Jake pressed a button on his chair. "This is Captain Morrison. Admiral Sullivan, please report to the bridge immediately." Admiral Kate Sullivan had been visiting the Defiant as part of her inspection tour of the Third Fleet. She was 58 years old and had more experience with deep space than almost anyone in the human fleet. Her gray hair was cut short, and her blue eyes missed nothing. She had fought in 3 different wars and earned the respect of every person under her command. The bridge door opened, and Admiral Sullivan walked in. She was fully dressed despite the late hour. Jake suspected she never really slept while on duty. "What do we have, Captain?" she asked, moving to stand beside Lisa's station. "Unknown distress signal, Admiral. The computer is almost finished translating it." The translation software finished its work with a soft chime. What came through the speakers made everyone on the bridge go cold. The voice was clearly alien, but the computer had done its job well. The words were in perfect English, but the fear and desperation behind them was universal. "This is Commander Zeth of the Kalari Republic. Our homeworld is under attack. The Vorthon Empire has broken through our defenses. Our orbital platforms are destroyed. Our fleet is scattered." The message continued, and with each word, the situation became more clear and more terrible. "They are bombing our cities from orbit. Millions are already dead. Our children are dying in the streets. We have sent evacuation ships, but they are being hunted down and destroyed." Jake felt his stomach twist. He had seen war before, but this was different. This was the systematic destruction of an entire species. To any civilized species receiving this message, the alien voice continued, "We are broadcasting on all frequencies. Our government buildings are in ruins. Our military command is gone. This may be our last transmission. Please, if there is anyone out there who can hear this, we need help. We are peaceful people. We have never harmed anyone. But the Vorthons show no mercy. They want our world, and they will kill every one of us to get it." The transmission went quiet for a moment. In the background, they could hear explosions and screaming. When the voice came back, it was weaker, more desperate. "This is Commander Zeth. I am broadcasting from our emergency command center deep underground. We estimate we have maybe 12 hours before they break through our remaining shields. After that, the voice trailed off. To whoever receives this message, please remember us. Remember that the Kalari people existed. We tried to live in peace. We studied the stars and created beautiful art and loved our families. Please don't let the Vorthons erase us completely from history. The transmission ended with a burst of static, then silence. No one on the bridge spoke for a long moment. Lisa's hands were shaking as she tried to get more information from the signal. Navigation Officer Ryan Davis, a tall man with red hair, was already working to trace where the message had come from. "How far?" Admiral Sullivan asked quietly. Ryan looked up from his station. 6 days at maximum burn, Admiral. Maybe 5 if we push the engines past their safety limits. Admiral Sullivan stared at the star map showing their position and the source of the distress call. Her face was hard, but Jake could see the wheels turning in her mind. This was not just a military decision. This was a moment that would define what humanity was going to be in the galaxy. "Admiral," Jake said carefully, "we don't know anything about these species. We don't know if this Commander Zeth is telling the truth. We don't know what we'd be getting into." "You're right, Captain. We don't know." Admiral Sullivan walked to the main view screen and stared out at the stars. "But we know what we heard. Fear is the same in any language. Desperation sounds the same whether it comes from a human throat or an alien one." She turned back to face the bridge crew. "And we know what kind of people we want to be. The kind who answer when someone calls for help, or the kind who find reasons not to get involved." Jake nodded slowly. He had served under Admiral Sullivan for 3 years, and he had never seen her back down from doing what was right, even when it was dangerous. "Lisa, send a message to all ships in our sector. Priority Alpha. Tell them we have a rescue mission." Admiral Sullivan's voice was steady and sure. "Tell them to prepare for immediate departure." "Admiral," Ryan said, "what about command? Shouldn't we wait for orders?" Admiral Sullivan smiled, but there was steel in her eyes. "I am command in this sector, Officer Davis, and my orders are simple. We go, we help, and we show the galaxy what humans do when innocent people are in trouble." Lisa's fingers flew over her controls as she began sending the message. Within minutes, responses started coming back from ships throughout the sector. Every captain had the same answer. They were coming. Jake looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, an alien species was fighting for its life. Soon, they would know they were not alone. Soon, they would learn that humanity had heard their call. The age of human expansion into the galaxy was about to begin, not with conquest or exploration, but with compassion. And Jake Morrison had the feeling that nothing would ever be the same again. The battle around Zenthari Prime became the largest space fight in galactic history. Human ships flew between massive alien vessels like tiny fighters attacking giants. Explosions lit up space in every direction. The sound of weapons fire would have been deafening if space carried sound. Captain Nick Johnson commanded the destroyer USS Phoenix. His ship was fast but small compared to the alien bioships. One of the alien vessels, as big as a city, was moving toward the rescue ships near the planet. "Sir, that big alien ship is heading for our medical transports," said his weapons officer. "The USS Hope and USS Mercy have thousands of Zenthari refugees on board." Nick looked at his tactical display. The alien ship was huge and heavily armed. His small destroyer could not stop it with normal weapons. But he had one option left. "All crew to escape pods," Nick ordered. "We are going to ram that thing." "Sir," his crew looked shocked. "You heard me. Get to the pods now. That is an order." The bow crew of the USS Phoenix ran to their escape pods. In 2 minutes, everyone was off the ship except Nick. He sat alone on the bridge, steering his destroyer toward the massive alien vessel. "This is for the Zenthari," he said quietly. The USS Phoenix accelerated to maximum speed. It struck the alien bioship in the center, right where the organic core was located. The explosion was massive. Both ships disappeared in a ball of white fire. The explosion created a chain reaction that spread to 6 other alien ships nearby. "Phoenix is gone," reported Commander Davis. "But Johnson took out 7 enemy ships with him." Admiral Carter felt sad, but also proud. Nick Johnson had saved thousands of lives with his sacrifice. That was what humans did. They protected others even when it cost them everything. In another part of the battle, fighter pilot Lieutenant Tony Clark was leading his squadron against alien swarm ships. The alien fighters moved like insects, all following the same pattern. They were fast but predictable. "Red Squadron, follow my lead," Tony said into his radio. "These bugs think in straight lines. We do not." Tony flew his fighter in a crazy spiral pattern. The alien swarm tried to follow him, but crashed into each other. Human pilots were trained to think for themselves. Each pilot could make different choices. The alien hive mind could not predict what humans would do next. "Nice flying, Red Leader," said his wingman. The aliens looked confused. "That is the idea," Tony replied. "All pilots use random attack patterns. Keep them guessing." The human fighter. Squadrons spread out and attacked from all directions. They used tricks learned from Earth's military history. Some flew in formations like ancient Air Force pilots. Others used tactics from space pirates. The alien swarms could not adapt fast enough. Down on the planet's surface, Marine Colonel Beth Harper was fighting a different kind of battle. Alien ground troops had landed near the refugee camps. These aliens were different from their ships. They looked like giant spiders made of metal and flesh. "Second platoon, fall back to the ridge," Beth ordered. "Use the rocks for cover." Her Marines were outnumbered but not outfought. They used guerrilla tactics, hitting the aliens and then disappearing. The alien ground troops were strong but slow. They expected enemies to fight in organized lines. Human Marines fought like ghosts. "Colonel, we have civilians trapped in the medical center," reported Sergeant Dan Miller. "The aliens have it surrounded." Beth looked at the tactical map. 20 Zenthari doctors and nurses were trapped inside the building. The aliens were closing in. Her Marines could not reach them in time with conventional tactics. "Miller, take your squad around the back. I will create a distraction." Beth ran straight at the alien troops, firing her rifle and shouting. The aliens turned to chase her. While they were distracted, Miller's squad rescued the trapped Zenthari. "Sometimes the old ways work best," Beth said as they regrouped. Back in space, the battle was reaching a critical point. The alien fleet had recovered from the surprise attacks. Their hive mind was adapting to human tactics. Worse, more alien ships were arriving from other parts of the galaxy. "Admiral, we have a problem," said Commander Davis. "The aliens are learning our tricks, and we are running low on ammunition." Admiral Carter studied the battle displays. Human ships were fighting bravely, but they were taking heavy damage. The USS Liberty had lost half its weapons. The USS Defiance was venting atmosphere. Dozens of smaller ships were destroyed or disabled. Then Dr. Alan Price, a scientist on the medical ship USS Mercy, made a discovery that changed everything. He had been studying pieces of destroyed alien ships. "Admiral Carter, this is Dr. Price. I think I found something important." "What is it, Doctor?" "The alien hive mind uses quantum entanglement to communicate. All their ships are connected by quantum particles. If we can disrupt those particles, we can break their connection." Lisa felt excitement. "How do we do that?" "Electromagnetic interference. If every ship creates a specific frequency of EM radiation, we can jam their quantum communication." "Will it work?" "In theory, yes. But every ship needs to transmit at exactly the same time and frequency." Lisa made the decision quickly. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter. Prepare to transmit EM interference on frequency 447.2. Dr. Price will coordinate. This is our chance to break their hive mind." Every human ship in the fleet prepared their communication arrays. Even damaged ships diverted power to their transmitters. This was their last hope. All ships ready, Admiral, reported the fleet communication officer. Dr. Price, you have command of this operation. Thank you, Admiral. All ships, transmit in 3, 2, 1, transmit now. 300 human ships sent out electromagnetic waves at exactly the same frequency. The waves spread through space like an invisible net. When they reached the alien fleet, the effect was immediate. The alien ships suddenly stopped moving in coordination. Individual vessels began flying in random directions. Some aliens attacked their own ships. Others just stopped fighting completely. "It is working," shouted Commander Davis. "The aliens are confused, but the victory came with a cost." Captain Steve Richards, flying the USS Ranger, was hit by alien fire just as the EM interference started working. His ship was badly damaged. "Dad, are you okay?" came a voice over the radio. It was his daughter Emma on the USS Hope. "I am fine, sweetheart. Just a little banged up." With the alien hive mind disrupted, the human fleet pressed their advantage. Ships that had been retreating now attacked with renewed energy. The alien fleet, unable to coordinate their movements, began to fall apart. "All ships advance," ordered Admiral Carter. "Push them back." The tide of battle had turned. Humanity had found a way to defeat an enemy that seemed impossible to beat. But the fight was not over yet. The aliens were trying to retreat and regroup. The humans had to finish this before the alien hive mind could adapt again. The fate of the Zenthari, people and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. 6 months after the Battle of Zenthari Prime, the galaxy had changed forever. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the new space station orbiting New Haven. Below him, the planet showed signs of growing civilization. Zenthari cities were rising from empty fields. Human and Zenthari engineers worked together to build a world that both species could call home. "The integration is going better than expected," said Dr. Sarah Kim, the station's chief science officer. She had been studying how humans and Zenthari could work together. "The Zenthari are natural teachers. They are helping our children learn advanced mathematics and physics." Jake nodded. "And our engineers are helping them rebuild their technology. It is a good partnership." Through the window, they could see construction ships building new orbital platforms. The platforms would serve as defense stations and trade centers. New Haven was becoming the symbol of human-alien cooperation. Admiral Lisa Carter was back on Earth, dealing with politics. The victory at Zenthari Prime had made her famous across the galaxy. Representatives from dozens of alien species wanted to meet with her. Some wanted protection agreements. Others wanted trade deals. A few wanted to warn humanity about other threats in deep space. "Admiral, the Kalari ambassador is here for the signing ceremony," said her aide, Lieutenant Dan Brooks. The Kalari were small, peaceful people who lived on asteroid mining stations. Like the Zenthari, they had been attacked by pirates and raiders. They wanted human protection in exchange for rare metals and advanced mining technology. "Send him in," Lisa replied. Ambassador Vex of the Kalari was only 4 feet tall with large eyes and blue skin. He looked nervous as he entered the room. His people had never dealt with humans before the battle. "Admiral Carter, my people are honored to join the Human Protection Alliance," he said in careful English. "We bring gifts of gratitude." The ceremony was broadcast across human space. Similar ceremonies had been held with 8 other alien species in the past month. Humanity was building an alliance of free worlds, just as the Zenthari had predicted. But not everyone was happy with humanity's new role. In the dark reaches of space, other powers were watching and planning. Captain Maria Santos was leading a patrol mission near the Vega system when her ship detected unusual readings. The USS Falcon had been upgraded with new sensors based on Zenthari technology. The readings showed ships moving in a pattern that seemed familiar. "Tactical? What are we looking at?" Maria asked. "Unknown ships, Captain. But their energy signatures are similar to the Vex High we fought at Zenthari Prime." Maria felt her stomach tighten. "How many ships?" "At least 50. They are moving toward the Kalari mining stations. The Vex High had returned. But this time, they were not alone. Long-range sensors detected ships from other hostile species mixed in with the organic Vex High vessels. Someone was building an alliance against humanity. Communications. Send a priority message to Earth Command. Tell them the Vex High are back and they have friends. Back on Earth, the message reached Admiral Carter while she was meeting with General Kate Phillips and Fleet Admiral Roy Baker. The three leaders had been planning the expansion of the human defense fleet when the alert came in. "How is this possible?" General Phillips asked. "We destroyed most of their fleet." "The Vex High are like a virus," explained Dr. Alan Price, who had joined the meeting via video link from his research station. "They consume resources from destroyed civilizations to grow new ships. 6 months is enough time for them to rebuild." Admiral Baker studied the tactical reports. "But these other ships, the ones that are not Vex High, where did they come from?" "The Hegemony Coalition," Lisa said grimly. "They have been quiet since our last war with them. I think they are using the Vex High as a weapon against us." The Hegemony Coalition was a group of militaristic alien species that believed in conquest and slavery. They had fought humanity before and lost. Now they had found new allies. "What are our options?" Baker asked. "We fight," Lisa replied. "The Kalari are under our protection now. We cannot let them be destroyed. But this time, humanity would not fight alone." Within hours of the alert, ships from the Human Protection Alliance began arriving at staging areas. Zenthari vessels flew alongside human warships. Altarian cruisers joined the fleet. Even the peaceful Ethereal Council sent their defensive ships. Captain Steve Richards, now commanding the new USS Liberty II, found himself working with alien officers for the first time. His tactical officer was a Zenthari named Kellen. His navigation officer was an Altarian named Zara II. "This is strange," Steve said to his daughter Emma, who was still serving as a medical officer. "A year ago, most humans had never seen an alien. Now we are fighting alongside them." "People adapt quickly when they have a common enemy," Emma replied. "The aliens have learned that humanity keeps its promises. They trust us." The combined fleet that assembled was twice as large as the one that had saved Zenthari Prime. Over 600 ships from 12 different species prepared for battle. It was the largest alliance fleet in galactic history, but the enemy had also grown stronger. Intelligence reports showed that the Vex High Hegemony Alliance had over 1,000 ships. They had spent months preparing for this fight. Admiral Carter took command of the Alliance fleet from her new flagship, the USS United Earth. The ship had been built using technology from all Alliance members. It was faster than human ships, stronger than Zenthari vessels, and more advanced than anything seen before. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter," she broadcast to the massive fleet. "6 months ago, we fought to save our friends. Today, we fight to protect the freedom of all peaceful species. The enemy believes that might makes right. We will show them that cooperation makes us stronger than any tyrant." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, heading for the Kalari system. But, this time, they knew they were not just fighting for one world. They were fighting for the future of the galaxy itself. Captain Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral and commanding the Outer Rim Defense Force, received reports from scout ships. The enemy was already attacking Kalari mining stations. Millions of workers were trapped in space habitats with nowhere to run. "How long until the main fleet arrives?" Jake asked. 12 hours, sir," replied his communications officer. "Too long. We go in now with what we have." Jake's force was small, only 20 ships, but they included some of the best captains from the Zenthari battle. They had learned how to fight against impossible odds. As they approached the Kalari system, Jake could see the enemy fleet spread out like a dark cloud. The Vex High bioships pulsed with evil light. The Hegemony warships bristled with weapons. Together, they were destroying everything in their path. "All ships, remember what we learned," Jake said. "Independent thinking beats hive minds. Courage beats cruelty. and we never abandon our friends. The second great battle for galactic freedom was about to begin. With their hive mind broken, the Vex-High alien fleet fell into chaos. Ships that had moved like a single organism now flew in confused circles. Some alien vessels collided with each other. Others fired randomly at anything nearby, including their own ships. Admiral Lisa Carter watched from the bridge of the USS Freedom as the alien formation collapsed. For the first time in hours, she allowed herself to feel hope. "All ships, press the attack now," she ordered. "Do not let them regroup." The human fleet moved forward like a pack of wolves. Every ship that could still fight joined the assault. The USS Liberty, despite losing half its weapons, continued firing with everything it had left. The damaged USS Defiance used its remaining engines to ram smaller alien ships. Captain Jake Morrison, still commanding the battered HMS Defender, led a group of rescue ships toward the planet. His ship had been fighting for days and showed the damage. Smoke filled the corridors. Half the crew was wounded, but Jake would not stop until every Xanthari was safe. "Amy, are you picking up any more life signs?" he asked his communications officer. "Yes, sir. I count about 30,000 Xanthari still on the surface. They are scattered across 3 continents. Then we keep working." Down on the planet, Colonel Alex Turner coordinated the massive evacuation effort. His Marines had secured landing zones in 12 cities. Transport ships flew constantly between the surface and the human fleet, carrying Xanthari refugees to safety. The Xanthari people were grateful, but confused. Many had never seen humans before. They were amazed that strangers from another world would risk their lives to save them. Elder Kava, the Xanthari leader who had sent the original distress call, met with Alex at one of the evacuation sites. The old Xanthari looked tired and sad. His silver skin was dirty from hiding in underground shelters. "Why do you help us?" Elder Kava asked. "Your people are dying to save ours. We do not understand." Alex looked at the elder's large, gentle eyes. "Because you are our friends. Friends help each other. But we have never fought together. We have never shared your wars." "That does not matter," Alex replied. "You shared your knowledge with us when we were young. You taught us about space. You helped us become who we are today. Now it is our turn to help you." Elder Kava nodded slowly. "Humans are different from other species we have met." In space, the battle was winding down. Most alien ships were fleeing toward the edge of the system. But they were not escaping easily. Human ships chased them and destroyed many before they could jump to hyperspace. Commander Ryan Davis, leading the pursuit in his damaged cruiser, reported to Admiral Carter, "We have destroyed about 60% of their fleet. The rest are running." "Let them go," Lisa ordered. "Our priority is the rescue operation. How many casualties do we have?" 47 ships lost, 6,000 crew killed or missing, 20,000 wounded. Lisa felt the weight of those losses. Each number represented someone's family, someone's future cut short. But she also knew those sacrifices had saved millions of Xanthari lives. Captain Steve Richards limped his heavily damaged USS Ranger back to the fleet. His daughter, Emma, serving on the medical ship USS Hope, was waiting to treat his wounded crew. "Dad, you look terrible," Emma said as she helped injured sailors off his ship. "I feel worse than I look," Steve replied with a tired smile. "But we did it. We saved them." "Yes, we did." As the rescue operations continued, something unexpected happened. Ships from other alien civilizations began arriving in the system. Word of the battle had spread quickly through galactic communication networks. The first to arrive were ships from the Altarian Republic. The Altarians were blue-skinned people who had been neutral in most galactic conflicts. Their fleet admiral, a tall woman named Zara, contacted Admiral Carter directly. "Admiral Carter, this is Admiral Zara of the Altarian fleet. We came as soon as we heard about the battle. We offer our assistance with the rescue operations." Lisa was surprised. "Thank you, Admiral Zara. We accept your help." More ships arrived over the next few hours. The Sigma Collective sent medical vessels. The Ethereal Council, who usually avoided all conflicts, sent supply ships with food and medicine for the refugees. Captain Maria Santos, who had led the successful flanking attack, found herself talking to commanders from 6 different alien species. They all wanted to know the same thing. "How did you defeat the Vex High?" asked a reptilian captain from the Draconian Empire. "They have destroyed dozens of worlds. Their hive mind seemed unbeatable." "We worked together," Maria replied simply. "Each human ship thought for itself. Each crew made their own decisions. The aliens could not predict what we would do, because we do not all think the same way." The alien captains looked confused. Most of their species had very organized military structures. Soldiers followed orders without question. The idea of independent thinking in battle was strange to them. As the evacuation neared completion, Elder Kava made an announcement that shocked everyone. Speaking from the bridge of the USS Freedom, he addressed both the human fleet and the alien ships that had come to help. "I speak for all surviving Zenthari people," he said. "We formally request that our species be placed under the protection of the Human Defense Fleet. We have seen what humans will do for their friends. We want to be part of that family." Admiral Carter was honored, but also worried. "Elder Kava, that is a big responsibility. We will protect you, but we cannot promise there will not be more battles." "We understand," the Elder replied. "But we would rather face danger with friends than safety alone." The offer was unprecedented in galactic history. No major species had ever requested protectorate status with another species. It showed how much the Zenthari trusted humanity. Other alien representatives began approaching Admiral Carter with similar requests. The small Kalari Federation asked for a defense agreement. The mining colonies of the asteroid belt wanted to join the human sphere of influence. "Admiral," said Commander Davis, "I think we just became a galactic superpower by accident." Lisa laughed, despite her exhaustion. "I think you are right." 3 days later, the last Zenthari refugees were loaded onto human transport ships. The evacuation was complete. Over 8 million Zenthari people had been saved. Their homeworld was damaged, but could be rebuilt. The human fleet prepared to return to Earth, but they were not going home alone. A convoy of Zenthari ships followed them, carrying the survivors to a new home. The planet New Haven, in human space, had been chosen as their temporary settlement. Captain Jake Morrison, finally getting some rest, stood on the observation deck of the HMS Defender. Through the window, he could see the long line of ships heading toward human space. Humans and Zenthari ships flew side by side. Amy Foster joined him at the window. "Sir, we are receiving messages from Earth. The government wants to make this protection agreement official." "And the Zenthari? They are already calling us their savior species. They want to help us build a galactic alliance of free worlds." Jake smiled. Humanity had gone to space looking for knowledge and trade. Instead, they had found something more valuable. They had found purpose as protectors of those who could not protect themselves. The battle was over, but the real work was just beginning. 5 years had passed since humanity began their work as cosmic guardians. The Milky Way galaxy had transformed beyond recognition, but the greatest changes were yet to come. Deep in the void between galaxies, human ships approached the spiral, arms of Andromeda, responding to distress signals that had been growing stronger each day. Commander Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the USV Galaxy Walker, the first human vessel designed specifically for intergalactic travel. His form shifted between matter and energy as he studied the readings from Andromeda's outer systems. "The situation is worse than we thought," reported Dr. Lisa Grant, her consciousness flowing through the ship's quantum sensors. "Their entire galaxy is locked in a state of artificial stasis. Nothing has evolved or changed there for over 10 million years. Through the ship's dimensional windows, they could see Andromeda in ways that normal beings never could. The galaxy appeared to be wrapped in invisible chains of force that prevented any kind of natural development. Stars that should have been born remained as cosmic dust. Species that should have evolved remained exactly as they were eons ago. "It's like looking at a museum," said Dr. Kevin Hayes, his mathematical mind calculating the energy required to maintain such total control. "Someone or something has turned an entire galaxy into a frozen display." Captain Jake Morrison materialized. Beside them, his consciousness having traveled ahead to scout the galaxy's core systems. His expression was grim as he shared what he had discovered. "There's an empire at the center of Andromeda that makes our old council look like children playing with toys," he reported. "They call themselves the Eternal Dominion, and they've achieved something the council never could. Complete and perfect control over every aspect of existence in their galaxy." The human fleet continued deeper into Andromeda, using their reality-bending abilities to avoid detection by the Dominion's sensors. What they found horrified even beings who had transcended normal physical existence. Entire star systems had been converted into massive factories that produced nothing but surveillance equipment. Planets that should have held billions of diverse life forms contained only identical clone populations, each being programmed to perform a single function for their entire existence. "They've eliminated free will entirely," Lisa observed as they passed a world where billions of identical beings moved in perfect synchronization. "Every thought, every action, every moment of every life is predetermined by the Dominion's central control systems." The Eternal Dominion was ruled by beings called the Architects, creatures that had once been organic, but had long ago replaced their bodies with machines designed to last forever. They had spent millions of years perfecting their control over reality until they achieved what they considered the ultimate civilization, one where nothing unexpected could ever happen again. But their perfect system had a fatal flaw. In eliminating all chaos and unpredictability, they had also eliminated growth, creativity, and the spark that made life worth living. Their galaxy was dying not from war or disaster, but from absolute boredom and stagnation. The distress signals humanity had detected weren't coming from the Dominion itself, but from a small group of rebels who had somehow maintained their free will despite centuries of programming. These rebels had discovered ancient technology that let them send messages beyond their galaxy, begging for help from anyone who might still remember what freedom meant. "We need to be careful," Alex warned, as they approached the rebels' hidden base on a rogue planet drifting between star systems. "If the Dominion discovers we're here, they'll try to study our reality manipulation abilities. We could accidentally give them the tools to spread their control beyond Andromeda." The rebel base was hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid, shielded by technology so old that even the Dominion had forgotten it existed. When the human ships materialized in the asteroid's docking bay, they were met by beings unlike anything they had encountered before. The rebels were a mixture of dozens of different species, but all of them showed signs of partial mechanical modification. Some had replaced their eyes with devices that let them see through the Dominion's illusions. Others had altered their brains to resist mental programming. All of them moved with the careful precision of people who knew that one mistake would mean eternal slavery. Their leader was a being called Nexus 7, who had once been something like a cross between a human and a dolphin before the modifications. Half of his body was still organic, while the other half consisted of machines he had built himself to maintain his independence. "You came," Nexus 7 said when he saw the human representatives. His voice carried both hope and disbelief. "We had almost given up. The Dominion's control grows stronger every year. Soon there will be no free minds left in all of Andromeda." Dr. Lisa Grant studied the rebels with her enhanced senses, seeing the courage it took to maintain their individuality in a galaxy designed to eliminate it. "How many of you are there?" "Perhaps 1 million beings across the entire galaxy," Nexus 7 replied. We hide in the spaces the architects have forgotten, using technology they consider obsolete. But we cannot fight them directly. Their power is too great. Jake Morrison looked around the hidden base, seeing the determination in every rebel's modified face. You don't need to fight them directly. You need to do what we did to our council. Show them that their perfect system isn't as perfect as they think. Over the following weeks, humanity began working with the Andromedan rebels to develop a plan that was both simple and incredibly dangerous. They would not try to destroy the Eternal Dominion's control systems directly. Instead, they would introduce tiny amounts of chaos and unpredictability into the galaxy's perfectly ordered systems. Dr. Kevin Hayes worked with rebel engineers to create what they called freedom seeds, microscopic devices that could randomly alter small details in the HFY Dominion's programming. A clone worker might suddenly prefer blue over red. A surveillance system might malfunction for exactly 3 seconds. A transport schedule might arrive 1 minute early instead of exactly on time. The architects have made their systems so rigid that even tiny changes will create cascading effects, Kevin explained to the rebels. Like dropping a pebble into a perfectly still pond. The ripples will spread until the entire surface is disturbed. But the most important part of the plan involved humanity's greatest gift to other species, teaching them to think for themselves. Commander Alex Turner began training small groups of rebels in techniques humanity had developed for maintaining individual consciousness under pressure. Not the reality-bending powers that humans now possessed, but simpler skills that any being could learn. Freedom isn't about having special abilities, Alex taught them. It's about refusing to let others define who you are and what you can become. As the freedom seeds were distributed throughout Andromeda and the rebels learned to spread their independence to others, humanity prepared for the Dominion's inevitable response. The architects would not tolerate chaos in their perfect galaxy, and when they discovered what was happening, they would bring the full weight of their power to stop it. But humanity was no longer the same species that had fled Earth years ago. They had learned that sometimes the greatest act of love was teaching others to be free, even when that freedom came with risks and uncertainty. The battle for Andromeda's soul was about to begin. The 300 human ships came out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Space around them flashed with bright light as each ship appeared. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the USS Freedom and looked at what was waiting for them. It was worse than she had imagined. The alien fleet was huge. She counted over 400 ships now, much more than Jake Morrison had first reported. The enemy had brought reinforcements. Worse, the aliens had formed a perfect sphere around the Zenthari planet. Every escape route was blocked. "My God," whispered Commander Davis. "Look at the size of those ships." The alien vessels were massive. The smallest ones were twice as big as human destroyers. The largest ones looked like floating cities. They had a strange organic shape, like giant sea creatures made of crystal and metal. Energy flowed through tubes along their surfaces like blood through veins. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from Captain Morrison," said the communications officer. Jake Morrison's tired face appeared on the main screen. He looked like he had not slept in days. Behind him, smoke filled the bridge of the HMS Defender. "Admiral Carter, thank God you are here. The situation is bad. These aliens, they call themselves the Vexhi. We captured some data from a damaged ship. They consume entire civilizations. They eat planets and use the energy to grow more ships." Lisa felt cold. "How many Zenthari are left?" "Maybe 2 million on the planet's surface. The orbital cities are gone. Most of the fleet is destroyed. We have been running rescue missions, but the aliens keep bombing the evacuation sites." "Understood, Captain. Good work. Now let us finish this." Lisa turned to her tactical officers. The situation was clear. The human fleet was outnumbered, but they had advantages. Human ships were faster and more maneuverable. More importantly, Humans could think independently while the aliens seemed to move like a hive mind. All ships, this is Admiral Carter. We are going to execute Operation Thunderstrike. Battle Group Alpha will attack the alien fleet head-on to draw their attention. Battle Group Beta will move around the asteroid belt and hit them from the side. Battle Group Gamma will focus on rescue operations. Questions? The responses came, quickly from the fleet commanders. Alpha ready. Beta ready. Gamma ready. Execute. The human fleet split into 3 groups. Commander Ryan Davis led Battle Group Alpha straight toward the alien formation. His group had the big battleships and heavy cruisers. Their job was to make noise and get the aliens angry. All ships, maximum speed, Ryan ordered. Let them know we are here. 100 human warships charged directly at the alien fleet. Their weapons powered up and their engines blazed with blue fire. The aliens noticed immediately. The organic ships began turning to face the human attack. Ryan smiled grimly. That's right, look at us. Ignore everything else. The first shots were fired when the fleets were still far apart. Alien energy beams reached across space like deadly fingers. The beams were powerful, but they moved slowly. Human ships dodged and weaved between them. Return fire, Ryan commanded. Human missiles and plasma cannons lit up space. The weapons moved much faster than alien beams. They struck the organic ships and caused explosions of green fire. But the alien ships began healing themselves, growing new armor to replace what was damaged. Sir, their ships are repairing themselves, reported his tactical officer. Then we hit them harder, Ryan replied. All ships focus fire on single targets. Do not let them heal. Meanwhile, Captain Maria Santos was leading Battle Group Beta on a secret mission. Her ships were moving quietly through the asteroid belt. On the far side of the system, her group had the fast cruisers and stealth ships. Keep the engines low, Maria ordered. We need to stay hidden until we are in position. Her ships moved like ghosts between the floating rocks. The asteroids blocked them from alien sensors. It was dangerous flying, but Maria was an expert pilot. She had flown through asteroid fields many times before. Captain, we are almost in position, said her navigator. The alien command ships are 2 million kilometers ahead. Maria studied her tactical display. The aliens had put their largest ships in the center of their formation. Those ships were coordinating the entire fleet. If she could damage them, the alien hive mind would be confused. All ships, prepare for attack run. Target the big ships only. We get one chance at surprise. On the other side of the system, Colonel Alex Turner was leading the rescue operation. His group had the medical ships, transports, and marine landing craft. Their job was the hardest because they had to get close to the planet while a battle raged overhead. USS Hope, USS Mercy, stay back until we clear a path, Alex ordered. Marines, prepare for emergency landings. We need to evacuate as many Xanthari as possible. Alex's ship, the USS Ranger, led a group of destroyers toward the planet. They flew fast and low, dodging alien fire. Several ships were hit, but they kept flying. Sir, I have located a large group of Xanthari survivors, reported his scanner. Officer. They are in a city on the northern continent. Take us down, Alex ordered. The USS Ranger dropped through the planet's atmosphere. Below them, the surface was a nightmare. Cities burned with green fire. Forests were turned to ash. Rivers boiled from alien weapons. But in one valley, Alex could see lights. Xanthari survivors were hiding in underground shelters. Back in space, the battle was getting intense. Commander Davis and his ships were fighting hard against the main alien fleet. Human ships darted between the massive alien vessels like angry wasps. They fired constantly, but the aliens kept healing their damage. Admiral, we are taking heavy casualties, Ryan reported to Lisa. The USS Lightning is destroyed. The USS Thunder has lost engines. Hold your position, Commander. Beta Group is almost ready. At that moment, Captain Santos struck. Her ships came out of the asteroid belt like arrows from a bow. They appeared suddenly behind the alien fleet and opened fire on the command ships. Surprise, Maria said as her weapons fired. The Alien command ships were not ready for an attack from behind. Human missiles slammed into their organic hulls. Explosions rippled through the massive vessels. Green fluid leaked from wounds in their sides. Most importantly, the attack confused the alien hive mind. Ships that had been moving in perfect coordination suddenly began flying in random directions. Some aliens stopped fighting completely. Others attacked their own ships by mistake. "It is working," Lisa said from the USS Freedom. "The hive mind is breaking down." But the aliens were learning. After a few minutes of chaos, they began to adapt. The command ships started healing their damage. New coordination signals went out to the fleet. "All groups, press the attack now while they are confused," Lisa ordered. "This is our chance." The 3 human battle groups attacked with everything they had. Ships that had been holding back now joined the fight. The space around the Zenthari planet became a maze of laser fire, explosions, and burning ships. On the planet's surface, Colonel Turner's Marines were loading Zenthari civilians onto transport ships. The aliens were tall and thin with silver skin. Many were wounded. All were scared. "How many more?" Alex asked his medical officer. "At least 50,000 in this area alone, sir. But there are alien landing troops coming. We need to hurry." Above them, the battle raged on. Human ships fought desperately against an enemy that seemed to grow stronger with each passing minute. But humanity had one advantage the aliens did not expect. Humans never gave up.